So look at this, we've got a sea of green out there. The Dow is up 0.8%, S&P is up 1.7%, the Nasdaq is up 2.5%, and in fact, a bit earlier, it's pulling back a little bit slightly, but a little bit earlier it was even pushing into the 3% range. And we have got one of the key bits of data that we were waiting for this week out there, which is the inflation data. And the inflation data was very positive for investors and Wall Street, and you can see this reaction straight away. But we're halfway there. We're halfway. This is one of two key pieces of data that are coming this week, and the first key part of the data was very positive, and you're seeing this being reflected in the share prices today. If we take a look at Google, for example, up 5% today. Very good move for this beaten down gem of a stock on the stock market. We've got Shopify up 5%, nearly 6% today. A stock that I actually was looking at a little bit earlier this week, and I was thinking, I haven't bought any shop for a while, I need to buy some, and then we've had a little bit of a pop here. Square, exactly the same as Shopify, was a stock I was looking at a little bit earlier this week ago, and it's one that I need to be buying a few more shares in, and that's had a 6% pop today. Gang, even Gang's joining in. Gang's up 10%. It's like, whoa, calm down there, Gang. You're only supposed to be going down and you're going up here. So that's obviously reacting really positive as well. S4 Capital, we saw it translate into some of the UK stocks as well. When this inflation data came out on the US, obviously people are thinking that's going to translate into the UK and inflation in the UK as well, in the positive direction as well. And obviously S4 Capital get a lot of their work from the US as well. And you can see here when the inflation data came out, we had the pop on the inflation data from S4 Capital here, and up 5% at the moment. And this has been on a very good run at the moment. I'm happy I managed to pick a few more shares up earlier this week while it was just a little bit down here. So yeah, that is doing very well. I still don't know how long it will be until S4 Capital moves to the US market. Totally makes sense for it to move across now, but hey, that's a topic for another day. Pinterest up 10%, one of the highlights of stocks that I own that is up a lot today, 10% up for Pinterest. I think it also helped that there was a bit of an upgrade from Piper Sandler that said there's multiple tailwinds going into 2023, which I 100% agree. We've been saying this on the channel about this stock for a while, and yeah, this is having a pretty good day as well. One stock that really stood out to me, I was having a flick through my watch list of stocks, and there was a stock that really stood out to me because I was seeing green, and then I just saw one red stock, and I was like, whoa, there's actually a stock down today, and it was Tesla. Like, Tesla was down today, down 0.9, 1%. Really, it was actually, I think at one point it was actually down nearly 2% at one point, and I thought Tesla, it's actually down 2%, it's just updated now. I thought Tesla would have a really positive reaction today because, this is a stock that's been really beaten down, and no, the negativity still overhangs Tesla at the moment. I've never seen this much negativity overhanging Tesla since like 2018, 2019. There's so much negativity going on in that stock at the moment, and yeah, it's coming really interesting. $162 now. Who thinks it's going to get a little bit lower? Is it going to get to that 140s, 130s, 120s, 110s, 100s, 90? Imagine that, Tesla at 90. So yeah, this is really interesting to see the weakness that's in this stock right now, because I'm massively looking at this one as a quite an interesting opportunity. So yeah, not a topic for today, but something that I saw that was really interesting. And here we go. Why is the positive reaction? Well, as you guys know, we've covered it on Sunday. Today is the inflation data from the US, and we were expecting 7.3, and it actually came in at 7.1%, well below what the consensus was. And that is actually quite impressive, because actually when we look at October was 8% and came at 7.7%. So we're actually starting to, the worry when we were at this point here, if you remember through July and up to September, during the markets weren't really reacting positively to the inflation data. Like, it's coming down, but it's not coming down fast. And the market was struggling to get excited about the inflation data slowly making its way down. Well, that's totally been destroyed in the last few months, because we've been coming down, and we've been coming down quicker than what's expected, which is obviously excellent. And if we keep going at the rate that we're going down, this is really coming at such a fast rate now. We could be talking about into the 6%, then into the 5%, and then when we get into the 4% range, which potentially, if we carry on going at the rate that we're doing at the moment, we could see getting towards the midpoint of 2023. Obviously, that's going to be a really interesting point, because we would like to see, obviously, the Fed then calm on the interest rates. And that leads us on to where we said we've reached the checkpoint. We're halfway there of one of the big things this week. We've got there. The news is positive. positive for investors. You see the reaction on the share price really coming down faster than what's expected now, than what it was doing previously. And that leaves us to tomorrow. Tomorrow is the next key checkpoint, which will once again move markets very positively or very negatively. I've got to say, to be honest with you, I think tomorrow the market will give some of today's gains back if it hasn't done already, if there isn't some nerves that are already creeping towards the end of the day for tomorrow. Because what's going to happen tomorrow? The Fed are going to be meeting and they're going to be putting up the interest rates. Now, the $1 million question is what they're going to do. At the moment, 0.5 is starting to get priced in massively, and that'll be a reduction from 0.75. Obviously, that will need to happen. If the Fed come out tomorrow, especially off the back of this inflation report, that you'd think if there was any hesitation, do we start slowing down the interest rates? You'd think surely today that is obviously going to make the decision up for the Fed. And the big thing is, if the Fed do put it up 0.5%, it's still moving up in a really high direction. You know, it's not like 0.25%. This is still quite a high interest increase or hike. So I think that the Fed would be mad to go with a 0.75. And if that was to happen tomorrow, you'd see the market absolutely like, what is going on? And even me, I'd be looking at the Fed and going, no way have you done that. Like, I think if there was any doubt in the minds of, is it a little bit too early to start pivoting and slowing down the hikes a little bit, I think this is kind of ease that off, and we should see a 0.5 tomorrow. If it is 0.75, yeah, I would be shocked. I think the market would be shocked and everybody would be staring at the Fed going, what are you playing at here? So for me, I expect 0.5 tomorrow. Now, I don't think that's what will move the market. What will move the market tomorrow, in my opinion, will be Jerome Powell and what he says and what his tone is when he comes to speak in the press conference Q&A half an hour after the hike. So I would expect us to see 0.5. And then what will be very important is his tone. Now, without doubt, he's going to be playing down the market. He doesn't want to get peer pressured into, if it carries on this rate, yeah, we're massively going to start reducing it. He still wants to keep the tone down. He still wants to make it going, well, we still need to see bigger reductions going forward. We still want it to come down a lot. We're not very close to kind of stopping hiking interest rates at the moment. That's what I expect him to say, and I think the market will probably react a little bit nervous off that sort of statement. What would obviously help the market if he comes out and says, look, obviously inflation is coming down and it's coming down fast. We should get to a point in mid-2023 where we should go and pause interest rate hikes. If he kind of gives some statements around where he could potentially see the increases get paused, and it's in a shorter time frame, which I don't think he'll do. I don't think he'll limit himself to a time frame, but the tone is going to be key. The tone is going to be key on what he says, whether he kind of gives the impression that it's, these hikes are nearer to the end, or if they're not nearer to the end. And I don't think he's going to get himself boxed into a corner. I think he will give himself a lot of runway where he's like, yeah, we're still going to keep up with these hikes and make sure inflation comes down a lot more. I think that's what he's going to do, and I think that's where the market will probably give a little bit back from today if it hasn't already by the end of the day. So that's what I'm looking for, and that's personally what I think will happen, and I think those are the outcomes and how the market would react to it. So yeah, obviously today the main thing is inflation. This was the most important thing for me, was making sure that inflation was coming down. But obviously we don't know what the Fed's going to do, and I'll be honest with you, me personally, I don't trust them as well sometimes to make the right decisions. And I even tomorrow I'm looking at it going, it should be a 0.5% increase, but I don't even 100% trust them to do it. But we'll see what happens. So that's the key thing for tomorrow. We've reached the checkpoint. At the moment, everything's good, but tomorrow is another key day. So yeah, overall, good day out there for sure, but definitely there's going to be a bit more volatility to come this week anyway. So hope you enjoyed the video anyway, guys. If you're on the Patreon, go check the UK portfolio review out. It is typical that I do that as soon as the stocks absolutely surge, but hey, it gives you a good reflection where everything's at, and I'll do my US one in a few days time. So if you do want to join that and see the 2 exclusive videos a week, link is in the description. I will do an update of my portfolio on the YouTube channel in January, so if you do want to wait for that, you'll be able to get an update then. Anyway, that's enough from me today. See you in a bit.